Welcome back to the 2016-2017 NBA preview. Today we are covering the third-ranked team in this preview, the Cleveland Cavaliers. My name is Josh, your Envyerz, and with me today is my co-host.
How's it going, guys? The king of the fourth quarter. Welcome back to the NBA preview.
I know what you're saying. This team just won a championship last season. How are they number 3 in your NBA preview? And that's because this NBA preview, I feel like I probably should have said this a whole lot more throughout the series, but this NBA preview is our predictions, essentially my predictions, of all 30 NBA teams and their win record. So, although the Cleveland Cavaliers are number 3, that doesn't mean that I'm not paying them any respect, especially last year. The Warriors had a 73-9 record, the Spurs had a 67-15 record, and then the Cavaliers were all the way back at 57 wins. So you see, you don't have to have the best record to win an NBA championship. You just have to have some of the best players to win an NBA championship, and they do with LeBron James.
Yeah, the best.
Yeah, the best player. He's kind of getting overshadowed by Steph Curry. You know, all the shooting threes and the ankle breaking. It's all the kids. All the kids love Curry. You know,
LeBron's still the best on the planet. Yeah, we got him at number 3. I think I had him number 2 over the next team, but number 3 is still a really good thing. Number 1 in the East, so yeah.
Yeah. This team did a lot last season by firing their head coach, David Blatt, and signed Tyronn Lue. I mean, Tyronn Lue was essentially, apparently in LeBron's words, he was essentially their head coach as an assistant coach. So they said, you know what? David Blatt's not really doing well. LeBron probably doesn't like him, so LeBron, since you don't like him, we'll fire him for you, okay? Okay, we'll fire him.
And it kind of surprised everyone because they were the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference at that point, and it was unheard of to fire a coach that was leading the team at that point. But it happened, and it worked out for the better. If it wouldn't have, and if they would have tanked a little bit or lost more games, that would have probably been looked at as one of the worst moves in history, you know? But luckily it worked out for them. Tyronn Lue apparently is a far superior coach than David Blatt, and they won a championship.
So I have a question about this whole firing situation. A lot of teams nowadays fire coaches, whether they win or lose. A lot of teams fire coaches, and it's kind of a shame to see teams firing good coaches. Do you feel like, just like NBA players, there should be like a cap where they still have to pay these coaches even after firing them?
So kind of similar to if they waived a player,
they would still have to pay him.
They still have to pay the contract.
Yeah. Instead of just for that single season, they would have to pay his full contract that they signed him to.
Yeah, that would benefit the coaches a bunch. Yeah, so I think that makes a lot of sense because that's his job, you know? No one wants to get laid off from their job, but that's a really good question. I definitely think that they should do something like that. And you think about it, these coaches aren't even making big bucks. Of course, it's millions, but nothing in comparison to the players they're coaching. So it won't hurt the team too much to kind of carry out those contracts to those coaches. So I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I definitely see that as well. And hopefully in the future, the NBA is able to do that because good coaches shouldn't be getting fired as often as they are or as often as they have been.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, the Cleveland Cavaliers didn't really do much last season besides winning an NBA championship. They traded Envyerz. Apparently they're cursed. I mean, trading him away to the Portland Trailblazers and then getting waived and then getting Channing Frye in return. It seemed to, let them win a championship. Maybe Envyerz just wasn't meant to win a championship ever. I mean, he signed back with the Golden State Warriors, so who knows the chances of him winning a championship now.
Right, and of course, since he played for both teams this season, he had the opportunity to get a ring no matter how the game's outcome was or what the game's outcome was. But he declined it. He declined that ring for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Good for him. I definitely, if I was on the losing team, I wouldn't accept that either.
Yeah, that ring means nothing if you didn't actually feel the win. So
he shouldn't even be offered that ring. The way he was flopping
for that team. Oh my God, we'll talk about him, I guess, in the further episode.
I mean, there's not really much to talk about him, but let's move on to the offseason moves for this Cleveland Cavaliers team. They acquired Mike Dunleavy and Chris Anderson. Some kind of weak acquisitions, if you ask me. And they lost Timothy Mozgov and Matthew Dellavedova, while they drafted Kay Felder at number 54.
Yeah, the offseason wasn't really eventful, of course, because they don't really have the money to make any really big moves. They lost Timothy Mozgov, so they tried to replace him with Chris Anderson. He's coming back to team up with LeBron.
That's not really a good move right there. Chris Anderson is not a young guy.
Even with those acquisitions, they're still the number 1 team in the East. So, Yeah, I really do like the draft though. They traded to get K Felder. He just looked like a stud kinda in the draft workouts and everything, and kinda led the league in scoring, or top 5 at least in scoring in college. So it was kind of they couldn't miss, you know. Even if he doesn't turn out, he was the 50th pick, 58th pick or whatever. So it's a nice little chance for them. In the summer league, he had a couple good games, but I don't think he's going to crack the rotation this year, but maybe in the future.
I mean, he might, because we're going to be looking at the rotation soon, and if you see that backup point guard, you might say, okay, K Felder has a chance. So speaking of which, let's move on to the Cleveland Cavaliers rotation. This is the projected starting lineup: Kyrie Irving, Iman Shumpert, LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Tristan Thompson. While their bench looks kind of weak in my opinion, with Mo Williams, Mike Dunleavy, Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, and Chris Anderson.
Yeah, their bench is really weak, but LeBron has done it multiple times with a really weak bench, so I'm not going to say that's going to hurt them too much. Yeah, that bench is bad.
I got 2 big concerns with this bench. One of them being the backup point guard of Mo Williams.
That's terrible.
And the other one being Chris Anderson. Where's the rebounding coming from besides Tristan Thompson?
They're just going to hope that Richard Jefferson plays the way he did in the finals all year long, which is really, really unrealistic.
Or pray that LeBron James just isn't human and he does everything and carry this team as he has been.
Yeah.
So that bench, very questionable. But, I mean, we still have them as the best team in the Eastern Conference just due to the fact that they do have LeBron James and they will have the best record in the Eastern Conference if everything goes well.
Yeah, again, like you mentioned, the big concern is that backup point guard position. That's going to be tough because if Kyrie gets injured, Mo Williams gets injured, anybody. And
Kyrie's been known for injuries too. So that's scary.
So it could hurt. Matthew Dellavedova leaving is really going to hurt that team, man, especially on the defensive end of that second unit. Matthew Dellavedova definitely was someone I consider a really nice perimeter defender. Mo Williams, not even close to that. So they're going to have some troubles in that second unit, definitely. But hopefully when Kyrie gets back in the game, things will be better.
Oh man, it seems like Kyrie's always been injured every single year, in high school, in college, and now in the pros. So maybe Kyrie could have a full season not being hurt. That'd be great. He has some of the best handles in the NBA, and he's definitely proving to me that he's becoming an elite point guard. Because I wasn't always I'm not on a Kyrie Irving bandwagon or anything, but I'm starting to see his greatness for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the finals really opened my eyes to what this guy is, man. He just played terrific. So I'm a believer in Kyrie Irving. Just, again, he has to stay healthy, man. He played 53 games last year, and I thought last year was one of his healthier years, but 53 is not going to cut it next year, especially with all the competition in the West right now. He's got to be as healthy as possible, especially when the playoffs come around. Especially
with that backup point guard position, you have to be healthy.
I mean, if you think about it, LeBron could probably play backup point guard too.
Sure. Come on. Maybe he could go back to his New York days and play some point guard. Hopefully knows?
He has a resurgence, man. Last year was terrible for him.
The ACL injury, I guess. It caught up to him.
Over. But I think we should definitely talk about how good this team was last year and kind of praise them for what they did, man. They did what I would consider the impossible. I definitely did not expect that. After down 3-1, I thought it was over. I didn't even watch the game when the third loss for them. I was at the movie theater and I saw the score. It was actually a really close game and I was like, it's over. But then the next couple games, they fight all the way back. I was really impressed. They made me a believer and I was cheering them on Game 7. I just wanted to see the story happen and it happened.
I mean, it kind of happened in the Western Conference as well with the whole Warriors.
It did.
So it was a very strange turn of events in the Western Conference Finals and then the finals. It's kind of funny how the Warriors came back and then they just ended up choking. So maybe if the Warriors didn't choke, they wouldn't have KD. So who knows?
Yeah, KD probably stay home. Yeah, definitely.
Now moving on to the projections of this Cleveland Cavaliers team. Last season they went 57-25. That's a pretty solid record. Pretty reasonable to reach again this upcoming season. Over under, where do you see this team?
I'm gonna say they stay the same. I'm gonna say they stay the same. Of course, Kyrie, LeBron, and hopefully Kevin Love has a better regular season this year. I'm gonna say they stay the same, and that will still put them number one in the East, at least in my books. Probably getting back to the Eastern Conference Finals and probably getting back to the NBA Finals. So that's my prediction.
I'm gonna say the same as well. I'm gonna say they stay the same because this Cavaliers team, they didn't get that much better. They lost Timothy Mozgov, and although he wasn't really doing much in the playoffs. Chris Anderson is not an upgrade as a backup center. Neither is Mo Williams as a backup point guard. I don't even know if I want to say they got better. I'm just putting this Cleveland Cavaliers team at number 3 is because it's a track record and because they have LeBron James.
No, I don't think they got better at all, but still with LeBron, it's kind of hard to say any LeBron team is going to be under 50 wins. So
exactly, this team will definitely be a 50+ high 50+ win team.
Yeah.
So with that said, this is our projection for this Cleveland Cavaliers team. Number 3 isn't that bad, especially because the 2 other teams out west. Do you agree with our rankings of this Cleveland Cavaliers team? Do you feel like they should be number 1 just because they won an NBA championship? Leave a like if you enjoyed.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Be looking out for team number 2 tomorrow.
Team number 2. Only 2 more episodes to go.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you then.